All right, welcome to the Stampscapes Spooky Lab. We're going to try to do a real quick one here. I'm going to stamp out my little church from a release from last year. Let's see here. I'm having so much fun with these glow-in-the-dark stickers that I can't seem to get away from them. Okay, let's see. Let's go about right here. And this is going to be a kind of a forested situation. And we'll see what we can do with that. I'm stamping on a piece of 1/2 page vintage paper. You can find these packs of it on Amazon. There's a link to it in a lot of my videos, if I get around to adding those links in there. But they usually come in packs of about maybe 5 different styles with about 10 pieces of each one of those papers. Okay. And they're just a lot of fun to work with. Instead of starting off with just a piece of white paper, this is giving me a really fast head start for the scene that I'm going for, and I don't have to do all that toning and texturing in the background. I do like to do that, but sometimes I just feel like doing some faster scenes. All right, that's the Tree Trunk Trio stamped 3 times. This one over here is just, a little bit of the design. This one over here is using more of the left side of the design, so you can really fill these areas in really nicely. Okay, so what I've been doing on, well, my entire stamping life, but recently on this paper is I've been filling in this base area with some additional texturing like this, with this sedge filler like this. I'll put this little church on a little bit of a slope like that. Now I'm kind of stamping some of this exterior off. You can see it gets a little bit clumpy like that where it overlaps. I mean, I should re-ink each time because this really absorbs the ink, but I'm going to be really filling that in with a lot of extra shading, so I'm not really worried about it. But, if it goes on here a little bit smoother, just inherently, it's always a good thing, just so you don't have to blend so much with your shading, which I won't have to do too much of, but we'll see how it goes here. All right, so I've been using a lot of my tombstones, and I think we'll add some of those in. And we'll go for some smaller stones. Maybe I'll push it a little bit more. I'll push the depth a little bit more. Let's go a little bit farther back in the distance. Pretty full cemetery. I gotta put these crosses at a little bit of an angle. That one right there, I didn't stamp too well up top. Just fill it in with a little extra pencil, like that. Okay, we're gonna make this one pretty fast. That's a big moon there. Do I want to go that much? Maybe. Let's see. Let's give this a little bit of an extra canopy. I should use some. I'll just use these leaves right here. No better time than the present. So I stamped those leaves over the front of the moon, and I stamped them in back for positioning. I'm gonna just kind of match that up with that, with those leaves there as best I can. Go like so. All right, now we have a lot of our little characters that we'll be putting in here. These little ghosts. But I think what we'll do is we'll just add in some extra shadow work in here. And, all right, so with this moon right here, I'm gonna be toning in a little bit of this. The side of the tree, the opposite side of the tree from our light source. So in other words, the tree is over here to the right of the tree. I'll be toning in a little bit of extra black on the right side of the tree. And these trunks right here will be toned in on the left side, the side kind of away from the moon. There's already some inherent shading on them, so this one's, they're already kind of left side shaded, because I have to, you know, when you're doing the designs, you have to kind of choose kind of a little bit of direction just to give it some inherent value and, you know, visual interest. Okay, so I'm making this shadow go this way. From that lighting of the illumination of from the moon. What you do is you can just kind of make it a little bit darker at the base, and then you just try to transition it lighter as it moves this way. All right, now there's just horizon, kind of a slope of the hill, so we'll want to create a little bit of a stronger definition between surface and sky. And you can just follow the slope that you defined with the sedge filler stamp. Okay, now we have all these stones like this, and you can kind of just, I don't know, we can kind of give it a little bit of perspective here. We'll kind of aim these lines going towards the center of the moon, like this. You can kind of eyeball it. You can use a ruler or a piece of paper or something like that to kind of guide you. All right, so those are the lines coming out from there, and you can see it's kind of roughly like that here. So like that. See the shadows get a little bit more, they move more towards horizontal the more to the sides you get. And you anchor down your objects with a little bit of a deeper shadow, closer to the object that's casting the shadow. Now, that church would be casting a longer shadow, but if I put too much tone down here, it's going to obscure those tombstones. So you don't always kind of abide by kind of what would be happening in the natural world. You do whatever type of thing is going to serve your scene here. So if you shadow looks good, you add it in there. And if it gets in the way of something that you want to stand out, but you don't want it obscured in darkness, then you just don't add it in, or you add in a much, in this case, a lighter version of, a shadow like that. Okay, there we go. Now, we have our little characters like this. I have a lot of ghosts, our little fun little ghosts. They're out to, you know, ghosts like to trick or treat too. So they're out, just having a grand old time. And I've pre-stamped them, as you can see. I don't have to use all of them. Oh, those look pretty fun. These ghosts, they kind of crack me up. It's like the typical Charlie Brown, two eyes cut out of a sheet type of thing. See, these ones are kind of the reverse. They're kind of dark. In case I wanted to put them up against something light. So maybe I'll put this one in this, in either one of these spots where there's some illumination. It's kind of interesting, putting these ghosts down here. So you can put them wherever you want because, they could be floating around. They don't have to be grounded on the surface. My question would be, do I add some shadows to these? I've never had to ask that about some kind of character in a scene that I've stamped out, because I always do. But let's see here. Let's add a little bit of a additional tone in here just to some of the drapery. I'm gonna add a little bit of gray into the shadow, into the folds of their, I don't know, whatever, the sheet, I guess. So I'm enhancing the shadow work that I've designed into the design. So where there's some folds down here, you just go in there and add some additional grayscale. Just do it with a really light tone. You can do it with a little bit of color too, maybe like some green would probably look really cool. Now I doubt if any of this pen work, this is an alcohol pen, I doubt if it's going to affect things when we turn off the lights and we look at the scene, with its glow-in-the-dark features. But people will look at the card in daylight too. So I think these little touches, like with the grayscale, will come into play. When we're viewing the card, as most will do, primarily in the light. Okay, I'm looking for a really pale green here. And this, These alcohol pens work pretty well on printable vinyl sticker paper. One of the colors that I liked adding into my landscape down here onto this vintage paper is a little bit of green. I do it very lightly just to just kind of add a little bit of a different hue. It's more of a hint of a hue into this, just aged, warm looking paper. I'm not looking for any kind of real brightness, but just a little bit of a, hint of another color in here can make it just seem a little bit more rich. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit of foreground in here. I'm going to avoid the ghost, stamping over the ghosts is I don't know if this will stamp right over the top of them because they're like raised here, so it's just adding a little bit of this foreground in here, kind of like what we have going up top, except up top it's with the leaves. And what this is going to do, a little bit more foreground. So it's bottom left and right corner. And I'm doing the same thing, top left and right corner, except with the leaves. And that just kind of frames things off a little bit more. And it brings the viewer's attention into the scene a little bit. Or quite a bit. Could be a little, could be a lot. And then what I'll do is I'll follow up and I'll go a little bit of a, with a darker perimeter. Again, just left and right, top and bottom. So 4 corners. White paint pen, and I just like to bring out the windows in the church a little bit more. Makes it a little bit more, kind of dramatic. Let's do some little fireflies maybe buzzing around. It's party time. Halloween party time, that is. We'll get this matted up and framed up, but this is the gist of it. Let's see, how long did this take here? 25 minutes, that's not too bad for a half-page scene. I did already have the ghosts cut out, but that didn't take too long. And I have pre-stamped out a bunch of the ghosts. I won't always do them in glow-in-the-dark, but it is really fun to use this glow-in-the-dark material here in these Halloween settings. It's just, I don't know, it's a kick using that type of thing. All right, so let's see what this looks like in the dark here a bit. Let me charge it up with light. Actually, let me pause this and I'll charge it up with a little bit of stronger light. All right, charged up. Let's start flipping off some lights here. And fun little glowing ghouls. What fun. They're a little bit more green in person, but my camera has to kind of overexpose so that I can see the paper. But yeah, some pretty fun stuff. Again, the glow-in-the-dark material makes for a lot of fun. And a lot of possibilities. This one was really easy because all the ghosts are kind of in front of something, so I didn't have to put them behind anything. But you certainly could. If I was going to have like this ghost popping out from behind a tree, I would just cut a little hole and a slit down the side of the tree, and I would just slip that in right behind it. And the same thing with the tombstones. If I want a ghost behind a tombstone, I'm just going to cut a little bit of it. I'm going to slip that little ghost right behind there and stick them like that. And again, this is going to get mounted on something else, so it doesn't matter if these you have little bits of things kind of sticking out the back. All right. Anyways, hope you like the card. It's party time. It's Halloween party time, maybe, for the title. Thanks for watching, and thanks as always for tuning into the Stampscapes channel.